Hello everyone and welcome. Yes, my name is Arrowfire and welcome back to another episode of Look Out and Shout. And today we are going to look at something that, okay, may not be hot off the press, you would have seen this before, but there has been a reissue and one has wandered into my arms. Get ready to say hello to Fans Hobby Master Builder MB-16 Lightning Eagle, their version of a Generation 1.5 Thunderclash, and look at that box. Look at that glorious G2 font design. It screams Generation 2, does it not? The lovely packaging. When you see him as well in his white truck mode, really gives you the vibes of Generation 2, and there is real vibes with Generation 2 as well. So on the back you've got some of their other figures that they've released, such as Power Baser and Double Evil, their Power Master Prime and Overlord, but also, where I think this is a new addition, you've got MB-17 on there, which I reviewed before, the Armada Megatron, the Meg Tyranno. So that's been updated to the box, which I think when this figure first came out, that figure wasn't out, so they've redesigned the box rather than just giving us the same old box. It's just something to pick up on. Now, it's fair to say this figure isn't cheap. This figure retails at something in and around the 200 mark, maybe 180. Fans Hobby don't do small. This is not a small figure, it's not a cheap figure either, so just be warned, buyer beware. But with Fans Hobby, you get really good build quality, at least in my experience. But let's take a closer look. And here he is in his vehicle mode, and that is one white, long, steaming pile of 1992 truck. It looks fantastic, doesn't it? Now, I will say straight away, I have transformed it, and these tabs on the side are supposed to go in, and as I've transformed it back, it hasn't quite lined up, which is not uncommon. Maybe I just need to work on that a bit more, but trust me, when it came out of the box, and it came out of the box like this, it was very nicely tabbed and flush connected in. But you can see straight away you can turn it. It is a bit of a stiff turn, but you can get proper truck rotation. All the wheels are made of rubber, which again is a big plus in my book. Gives it that real authentic vehicle vibe. I love that hot pink visor. We'll look at the cab on its own a bit separately, but as a piece, wow, that looks amazing. It's worth keeping it in this mode alone. Obviously, the massive gold cannons don't come assembled and they come off quite easily. They're effectively just resting on there, and they do fire as well, but we won't go into that here. It's just a really, really, really big truck. So we'll do this a little bit differently. Before I start to look at the individual components and show you the other modes, let's get into a comparison and we can get the trailer out of the way. Now, some of you might have seen this image that I put up on my Instagram page. I actually don't have my Ultra Magnus transformed up into vehicle mode at the moment, but here he is alongside a Magic Square Masterpiece scale Optimus Prime with a standard MP10 trailer and the MP09 Rodimus Prime. So we have a convoy altogether, and he's very much on this scale. He's a masterpiece truck. Just to think, if you can get a Fans Toys Road King, their Motor Master, and then have an Ultra Magnus in vehicle mode, you'll have a very nice convoy going on here. But yeah, this is fantastic, just to have these big hulking trucks, and something like Thunderclash or Lightning Eagle looking so vibrant with that headstock and a cab and a gold grille. It just looks fantastic, particularly seeing him alongside Prime. And here he is in cab mode, so let's get in for a closer look. Now, what I've just noticed, actually, I don't know if you can see it, there is this, where the matrix should be, I guess, or where a matrix would be, he actually has some sort of diamond reflective circular bit there. If I get the light to reflect it, you'll see it actually glistens off the light really, really well. I just didn't notice that until I picked it up just now. In terms of weight, it's pretty much all plastic. There's hardly any die cast here. Good plastic, but it's not as heavy as you think it would be. It's not to say it's bad at all. I can't get this side bit to tab in. As I say, I have transformed this once before, and I can't quite get it to line up, but I'll just have to work on that a little bit in my own time. I really like how he looks. You can take this top part off if you like, as part of the transformation, to have a very flat top truck. He looks a little bland though, but you just put it all back on to have as was intended. I just love that pink windscreen. And for a quick comparison, here is what it looks like alongside another MP vehicle. This is Masterpiece, Takara Masterpiece Sunstreaker, and yet very much in the masterpiece grade. And here he is in his first robot mode. This is known as the core robot, and it looks really, really good. The colours are spot on, that kind of muted red, soft blue, and that lovely turquoise green. Again, holding his gun. He does have a tendency to lean a little bit. It's not to say he's going to fall, I don't think, but the ankles are possibly the worst thing about this figure in this mode anyway. There's not enough back support, so he does have a tendency to want to lean back. That said, the face looks really good. There's, again, hot pink on the eyes, that wonderful eagle chest plate. It looks brilliant, and again, I just love that backpack of the hot pink of the windscreen of the cab. He does look really good. He's a very good size. He's very stocky, I think it's fair to say. And you have him alongside some figures like in the MMC range, he's going to look quite considerably bigger. But let's get in for a closer look. So as you can see, very lovely design on the figure. He's got good articulation as well. Nice presence on the face. He's actually got double elbow joint, which is very welcome, which is more part of the transformation, but again, does let for some good poses. Waist swivel is very minimal. But again, these ankles, they're just not fantastic. They have a tilt to them, but it's not a good one. It's not got a lot of clearance. And it just means that you're ending up having to overcompensate for some poses. And he is tilting more back there. You can't see it, but the front of his foot is actually not touching the ground. One thing you can do as well is you can take this off to have a bit more of a trimmed down version, which again is not the actual cab chest plate. It's like a faux one, but you could have that if you so wish. Me personally, this only pegs in. I prefer how that looks. I love the look of the figure. I love the heft of the figure. The hands are pretty good as well. There's a groove in the palm of the hand. You can just see there. So his gun actually slots in, and then the fingers just really just go around it for a bit of dressing. Good ratchets on the elbows. Yeah, so posability isn't the best in the world, but it is very much designed to be a shell for the main event. And the first comparison you can see is one that I had to do really. Here he is alongside MMC's version of Thunderclash. This is an IDW stylized one, and of course doesn't get super combined, if you like. This is very much how big this figure will get, alongside the core robot version from Fans Hobby. I do really love both designs. I love the heft of this one, and I like the elegance, if you like, from the IDW stylized version. But look at the differences. Look at the shoulders, look at the feet. Again, I know this can't combine and this will, but quite interesting takes on the same character. And a bit more recognisable, here he is alongside the MP-44, the new release of Optimus Prime, the Takara version. Again, two different designs. One's very slender, very G1 looking, one's not. But this is how they scale side by side. He's a big bot, the Fans Hobby Thunderclash, the Lightning Eagle, to scale this tall with Prime. And here is the turret mode made completely from the trailer, and you've seen how far back I've had to come to get this all in one shot. It's quite a straightforward transformation, if I'm being honest. I don't think there's an awful lot that I've missed out of it. He says checking the instructions. It seems pretty good. Being a trailer, it just folds out from being a square into anything but a square. Some things sit on a bit more than others. I think that's fair to say. The big problem, again, I'm picking on, is the feet, the rear of the feet. Now, of course, this is going to make up the armour, if you like, for the bot. The feet at the back, if I can turn it around, maybe you can see, and hopefully everything falls away. The feet are supposed to come down flat, and if I do that, then they, well, I don't know if I can show you, they sort of hover upwards a bit. If I get it, do you see the clearance? And it offers no ground support whatsoever. So whilst it tells you to get it in its split pose, it's actually better to put it upright, I find, and then at least you've got some sturdy heel support. Now this is going to be the formation for the leg in the combined mode, I have no doubt. Now, let's also do this whilst we're here. And with the magic of editing, I can imagine, and as I say, with the power of editing, you have something that looks like that. I figured out how to sort out the feet, by the way, as I was adjusting it. That, when you get everything tidied up and balanced, And I'll be honest, getting him on there is not fun. You have to bend the knees. You have to make sure that he has got some arch to him, particularly on the waist, just to get him to hold on to these gun controls. But I mean, that looks pretty spectacular. The camera does not do it justice. That is a sizable beast. And I've got nothing like that in my collection. I haven't got anything on this scale that is a turret. Not even close. I wouldn't even have a shockwave that even came close to this. This is pretty damn special. I'm actually more impressed with this mode than I thought I would be. I thought this was kind of the gimmicky mode, but to get it all in its glory, to have it all centerpieced out with the guns and the core robot, this is a good mode to store it in. So far, we're 2 for 2. Yeah, I really will try and get some better pictures and put them up at the end. Let's try and get some comparisons in. Just so you can see how big we're talking, this is him alongside one of the Geiger Power Dinobots, alongside Grassor, and he's taller, which of course you'd probably expect him to be. He's on stilts, but that is a big tower unit. And any excuse to get the boy out, here he is alongside Kang Toy's Razor Claw, or their King Lion, I should say. Big figure, deep figure, more deep than big, but again, that's effectively 2 Razor Claws tall. And here he is in his combined mode, and wow. Okay, first thing I'll say, I did struggle with this transformation mode more than the others. You can see these parts at the back are supposed to tab in, and I just cannot get them tabbed up. It's mostly to do with this cab section. Has to go up to this very small cube, which then sits into the shell. And by the time you put everything in place, I couldn't get everything to line up, and I worked on it for some time. It's now gone dark where I am, and yeah, that's the end result. But that all being said, and to give you a kind of final representation, wow. Now, I have got him slightly standing at a bit of an angle, so don't think this is like a final pose of it, but just to get him on the turntable for you to see what he's like. And if I go down, you'll see the legs aren't exactly straight. I've got one slightly bent and one not, because the height clearance is quite something. It looks fantastic. It's really impressive. That gold is stunning. The colours on it are stunning. The build quality is stunning. It's a shame because the transformation throughout all of this set has been really good, quite fun and intuitive and not too complicated. Getting it into this mode I found the hardest of all. It's a shame really, but it's still a stunning figure. It's utterly huge. Let's get in for a closer look. So you can see if I bring him in a bit closer, or rather if I zoom in on the camera, just what we're dealing with here. I mean, everything completely in proportion. It's an absolute beast of a figure. So big. Good ratchets. Again, not the heaviest in the world, but certainly strong enough to hold. Another ratchet on the elbow. Good individual finger articulation, so you will say he's number 1. He's got a lot to it. Waist swivel, I don't really think so, but then again, I'm not going to put that down to the figure, more so with the transformation to get him into this pose. I do think Fans Hobby do stunning bulky figures, but posability is where it's lacking, where it lets them down. It's not to say that you've got particular problems with them, but they're so big and so focused on presentation. I don't think I could get much of a successful knee bend out of it to hold any kind of crouching pose. It does have an articulation at the knee, but then there will be no forward ankle tilt to hold position. So it's still a fantastic looking figure. It is all about the presentation. It is all about this is how a stunning Thunderclash should look. It should look awe-inspiring. They do brilliant figures. The build quality is sturdy as anything. But as I say, you're dropping this level of money, and whilst it does look stunning, you're going to struggle to get it into any other pose other than the one I've got it in. And that's not to say it's a bad figure, it's really not. It's a glorious figure, but playability maybe not as up there as it can be. But let's get into some comparisons. And we did this before, but here he is alongside MMC's Thunderclash. So the two Thunderclash that I own side by side. And here he is alongside Geiger Power Grassor. So he's bigger than a Dinobot. Something completely different. Here he is alongside Planet X Cacus, the IDW Grimlock. And finally, here he is alongside MB-17, the Meg Tyranno, the other offering from Fans Hobby, the Armada Megatron. So what is my final thoughts on Lightning Eagle? Well, it's not to say it's not stunning. Of course it is. How could it not be? Look at the size of it. The tabbing in does appear to be a common issue with this. What I've noticed as well, and I don't know if it will show you, there's quite a gap there. I can actually get my finger in that. And that is the cab to the shell of the body. It doesn't fit fully flush. It goes down into some grooves and it's supposed to tab in and doesn't. I'm surprised if that is a problem. And as I understand it, that's a problem with the first release. This is an issue with it now as well. Unless I've done this wrong, I'm surprised it's been re-released with the same fault. But that's not where it stops. Around the back, as I mentioned, the gaps is not tabbing in, and that again seems to be an issue from the first time round. And this surprises me that if you would reissue a figure, would you not redesign its faults? Because surely Fans Hobby are aware of customer feedback. But it just appears that they've been happy with their design. It's not worth setting up the cost of production to go again. They've just re-released the same figure because it sold pretty well first time round. And that is kind of the only problem with this. I would have liked there to have been more die cast. I would have liked the posability to have been better. I understand it's a hefty figure that you probably can't do a lot with. And I would have liked better articulation. The combined mode is very good. I can understand why people would keep it in this pose, but I've got no room for it in this pose. It's probably got to live in vehicle mode, if anything. But I do love its colour. I do love its presentation. The gold plastic GPS, the green as well. Even the kind of the dull red really works because the gold kind of lightens it up. And of course the predominant white shell that would make up the trailer. It does scream a Thunderclash in many ways. So it's not bad at all. Gimmicks are pretty good. The turret mode is actually quite fun once you get him on there and tidied up. It's good. It's really good. And this is it. Fans Hobby do very good bots. Very good, very big bots. I was very impressed with their Armada Megatron. I am impressed with this, all things considered. But one thing I will really dock this figure for is its price, is its cost. This is something, as I said, in the region of £200. And that is a lot of money. Now, yes, that is a lot of bots. And I can't imagine that's cheap to make. I understand that. I get that. But is it as premium as high-end Fans toys? I would have liked some die-cast for that money, if I'm honest. That feels about £30 overpriced for me. But what can you say? It's still a very good figure. It does very much make a very good Thunderclash, a very big Thunderclash that you will house in your collection. And if he is going to be in a Turbo Master side of your collection, he is going to be a wonderful centerpiece for it. But that all being said, I'm going to give this figure 4 Rodimus Star Badges. It is the price that is the massive docker for it, and the fact it doesn't tab in. I didn't want to give him less than 4 stars because the things it does well, it does really well, and I'm not unhappy with it in my collection. Transformation is broadly quite good. The combined mode, the super robot mode, is a bit of a faff, but all other modes are quite straightforward. You don't really need the instruction once you sort of see where you're going. But there we go. That is my review of Fans Hobby's MB-16, their Lightning Eagle. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button because I will see you on the next one.